Have you ever wondered what the scariest things taught in the CIA are? Or what kind of techniques are used by intelligence agencies to get what they want? Or how they've been training spies since World War II? There's one thing that might surprise you. It's called the honey trap. And believe me, if you thought all honey is sweet, you're going to be very surprised. Imagine being the United States ambassador to Russia in the 1960s. You arrive in Moscow and you feel excited. Your job is important. You meet with Russian leaders and you're shocked by their arrogance. How dare they talk to you like that? These guys are nothing. Back in your hotel room, you feel tired. You order a drink. Suddenly there's a knock on the door. Who could it be? You open the door and there she is, the most beautiful woman you've ever seen in your life. She starts talking and you realize she speaks perfect English. She seems a bit nervous. Then she tells you her name is Anastasia and she is an American journalist working for the New York Times. But then something strange happens. She stumbles and drops a book. Oh, sorry. Anastasia looks down. She has no shoes on. Wow. You help her pick up the books and find out that she lives on the 4th floor. What a coincidence. The room is on the 4th floor. You walk together to her apartment. It's just 2 doors down the hallway. Once inside, things start to heat up quickly. This is an unexpected turn of events. Before you know it, you're sleeping with the most beautiful Russian woman you've ever met. The next day, you wake up and feel great. What a night. You take a shower, get dressed, and go downstairs for breakfast. As you enter the dining room, you notice a man sitting alone. His eyes are fixed on you. You can't help but think he looks kind of creepy. Is he following you? Just as this thought crosses your mind, the man stands up, walks over to you, and introduces himself as Ivan. He's a friend of Anastasia's. Then he invites you to meet his friends. You accept the invitation and soon find yourself surrounded by 5 men and women. To your surprise, they all seem to know you. Each one whispers something in your ear. You can't believe what you're hearing. Someone takes out a photo. It shows you and Anastasia in bed together. You keep piling on the pressure until you finally agree to do something for them. You become their asset. This may sound like a scene from a movie, but in reality, it's exactly how the KGB, the Russian Secret Service, operated. Their weapon of choice, the honey trap. But let me ask you this. Who's really behind this plot? Who's pulling the strings? And what's the real goal here? Let's take a closer look. You meet the woman of your dreams. You're both single. Sparks fly. You can't take your eyes off each other. You spend the whole evening together. Before you part ways, she asks you for your number. Next day, she calls you. You arrange to meet. She doesn't show up. You wait, you call again, still no answer. You think maybe it's just a misunderstanding. You decide to pay her a visit. You knock on the door. An unfamiliar woman opens up. She claims not to know you. Are you confused, disappointed, maybe even angry? If so, congratulations. You've fallen for one of the oldest tricks in the book. You've been honey-trapped. But what does it mean to be honey-trapped? In simple terms, it means being seduced or manipulated by someone who has ulterior motives. But who's behind these schemes? Who uses honey traps? Turns out, anyone can use this technique. For example, the Russian Secret Service, known as the KGB, during the Cold War. They had a special department dedicated to honey traps. Its official name was the Directorate S. This department employed thousands of women and men. So their job was to recruit Western spies. The KGB didn't only use attractive women as bait. They also used their assets for tasks like gathering information, blackmail, sabotage, even assassination. Now let's look at some real-life examples. Take the case of Sir Anthony Blunt, a British aristocrat and art historian. He worked at the Victoria and Albert Museum in London. In 1967, Blunt was exposed as a Soviet spy. You might wonder why someone like him would betray his own country. Well, the KGB used a classic honey trap on him. Blunt fell in love with a woman named Kay, who happened to be a KGB agent. As a result, he became involved in espionage. Another example is John Walker, an American naval communications expert. He leaked top-secret information to the Soviets. Later, he was caught and sentenced to life in prison. What's the twist? Walker's wife, who he considered his rock, turned out to be the one who pushed him into espionage. She was actually a KGB agent. So what did these honey traps look like in practice? I'll tell you right after a word from our sponsor. Being a spy is not child's play. It takes skills, intelligence, and the ability to stay calm under pressure. That's why it's no surprise that spy movies are so popular. They give us a glimpse into a world where danger lurks around every corner and every move could be your last. But what if you could experience this excitement for real? Enter Spyweb, created by Enigma Software Group. Spyweb puts you in the shoes of a secret agent tasked with infiltrating enemy territory and retrieving a stolen data drive. Along the way, you'll face booby-trapped rooms, laser grids, patrolling guards, and more. Will you be able to navigate these treacherous environments undetected? With its immersive gameplay and lifelike graphics, Spyweb will keep you on the edge of your seat. Think you have what it takes to be a top-notch spy? Try Spyweb today and find out. Meet the allure. She's confident, charming, and knows how to treat you right. With her seductive smile and graceful moves, she's the kind of woman who can make any man's heart skip a beat. But don't be fooled by her beauty. Behind that facade lies a cunning mind that never misses an opportunity to exploit others. While she may shower you with affection and compliments, know that she's also gathering information about you, dissecting your every move, and listening intently to your conversations. With each passing moment, she weaves a web of deceit and manipulation, ensuring that you remain under her control. And when the time is right, she strikes with precision, exposing your deepest secrets and using them against you. So be cautious. Don't fall prey to her deadly charm. The woman you thought you knew may just be a figment of her imagination. And now back to the honey trap. In the past, the KGB had a huge advantage over the West. Many people who got mixed up in honey traps were higher-ups. For example, ambassadors and diplomats. These guys had access to sensitive information. When the KGB recruited them, they gained valuable insights without having to do any of the legwork themselves. Imagine being an ambassador and finding yourself blackmailed, based on a compromising situation captured in photographs or on tape. The KGB had a variety of ways to collect such compromising materials. Sometimes it was as simple as placing cameras in public places. Other times they resorted to hiring private investigators to follow their targets. Once they had the goods, they used it as leverage. KGB would then demand that the ambassador hand over classified documents or give them information about their government's policy. In some cases, they even demanded money. Basically, the sky was the limit. There were no hard and fast rules. It all depended on the situation and the person involved. Even if the ambassador refused to comply, the KGB had other methods to punish them. For example, they might leak the compromising material to the media. Can you imagine the scandal that would cause? Not only would the ambassador's career be ruined, but their personal life would be thrown into chaos too. Or sometimes the KGB didn't even bother with threats. They simply enjoyed having someone under their thumb. After all, it's quite satisfying to know that you have the upper hand, isn't it? How did the West deal with this? Well, not very effectively. It tried to warn its people about the dangers of honey traps, but that wasn't enough. Why? Because these traps weren't set up in the streets or public squares. No, they took place in private. The target was lured into a sense of security before the trap was sprung. Therefore, the main weapon against the honey trap was awareness. If someone suspicious showed interest in you, you needed to be cautious. Likewise, if you found yourself in a compromising situation, you should immediately cut your losses and leave. But that's easier said than done. Human nature is such that once you find yourself in a compromising position, it's already too late. The damage is done. Even if you suspect you've been honey-trapped. It's difficult to extricate yourself from the situation without causing a scandal, and the KGB was well aware of this. During the Cold War, both the United States and the Soviet Union wanted to know each other's secrets. The problem was they didn't want to reveal their own secrets. How could they gain an advantage? The answer was to put pressure on the opponent's diplomats. The United States understood the threat posed by honey traps, but it didn't take the necessary precautions. As a result, the Americans suffered significant losses. For example, in the 1980s, a U.S. defense official named Edward Lee Howard left Washington and moved to Mexico. There he met a woman who introduced herself as an American tourist. Later, they married, and Howard began leaking secrets to the Soviets. Guess who the woman turned out to be? A KGB agent. The story doesn't end there. There was another American diplomat named Raymond Davis. He was posted in the U.S. consulate in Leningrad. One day, he found himself in serious trouble. He had a lot of compromising material on him. But who was behind this? You guessed it, the KGB. Now, how did they manage to get this dirt on him? Surprisingly, Davis had unknowingly picked it up himself from a tailor shop. Among the suits he ordered, there was a hidden camera. The KGB used this to their advantage. They set up a honey trap. Davis met a woman named Svetlana. They started dating and eventually ended up in bed together. Unbeknownst to him, Svetlana was a KGB agent. She knew exactly how to manipulate him. Before long, Davis was head over heels in love and ready to do anything for her. This gave the KGB the leverage they needed. They threatened to expose him unless he played along. Eventually, Davis was expelled from the country, ending his diplomatic career. You see that KGB was very inventive. Sometimes they used tailors, sometimes they used journalists, and sometimes they simply recruited women who were experts in seducing their targets. What's the lesson here? The most dangerous chains are not physical, but psychological. Sometimes your weaknesses can be used against you. The best protection is awareness. If you like this story, check out the next one. We bet you'll love it.